You're listening to Hainai by Motzie Dapul. Episode 56. Dambuhala.
Hey, babe. Wake up. We're almost there.
Sorry. I didn't realize how tired I was.
Don't apologize. You're sort of doing all of the work, so...
Not all the work. I can't drive after all.
Well, maybe you should learn.
I guess if you can learn magic, I should learn the stick shift.
I can teach you that too. Speaking of which, since your schedule's still pretty free, want to go down to the gun range for some more practice?
I don't know.
Would it help if I called it a date? It would, wouldn't it?
Shut up.
You don't have to if you don't want to, you know. Murphy and I have that covered. I don't quite know the rules for magic, or whether you can actually lose it, but if you need to know how to handle our firearms, at least you'll have the training.
Well, by definition, magic's a bit of a wild card, so... Sure. It's a date.
How exactly do you know where to find her?
My anting-anting isn't just a fashion statement. It's the eye of an Agolai. It protects me, sure, but that's not what she's the goddess of.
You've said before, but, what is she the goddess of then?
Lost things. Finding what I'm looking for. And I think... we found what we're looking for.
Ah, it's you. You smell more like rot every day, little big one. Clinging to you like piss scent. Still, your true magic is unmistakable. Raw. Gold.
Hello, ma'am. I'm sorry to bother you in your domain, but I had questions, and I was hoping you might be able to shed some light on certain mysteries.
Oh, speak then, though you ought to know better than I.
Well, I spoke to one of them. An elder. Like the, faceless one. He talked about visiting the north, spoke of something he called the Long Winter. A powerful, terrifying being or force or magic that came from a great pit. I don't know if I'm describing it correctly, but...
More fool he, and still he lives, after visiting the mouth of a big one.
What's a big one? He implied that something followed him back home, something that frightened him, but he survived, and he's still around, so...
Such a thing I cannot answer. Nobody truly knows the big ones that yet live, though we who are left know how to live in their shadows. A greater mystery is how you do not know.
I don't know why you think I should.
Well then, sit with me, and I shall tell you what I know, and your companion, whose scent is strange indeed. I was once a pup many centuries ago. It was a time of darkness, when giants walked the earth. I was a runt, and the smallest of my kind. Even now I am barely bigger than a pup, for my kind towered over me in the young trees of this forest, able to leap to the heights of the aged ones. There were others as well, great elks whose horns broke through the canopies and seemed to capture the stars when you looked through them, with teeth and hunger made for meat in the freeze. Great birds would blot out the sky at times, and other hunters stalked the darkness. Bears with many eyes and snowy fur stood tall enough to brush the tops of trees. We preyed on each other, and pure strength could fall to bonds of pack. And all of us, when we died, were taken by the carrion birds and insects, and scavengers in the underbrush, devoured by the fungi, our flesh and bones bearing fruit and new life. Many died in those days, a time of prosperous death. We knew the value of death, and it lived with us as we spent our days outrunning it, knowing that we would never win against its steady crawl, no matter how fast we ran, no matter how big and strong we were, no matter how long our lifespans. For nothing died naturally in those days. Only by violence did we die, and only by killing did we live. I thought I would be abandoned for being too small, but I wasn't. I hunted small game that could hide in the underbrush for harder times. We rarely had warmth in this long, unending winter. My mother tucked me into her, and my siblings wrapped around each other, and I was often buried in their bodies and tails, and I would fall asleep to their heartbeats. In that time, the big ones did not sleep, and we all suffered for it. There are many big ones. It is what we of our pack called them, but it feels inadequate to describe them so simply. Some are big as mountains, big as forests, big as plains and great lakes. They are all these things and part of these things, and their breath moves the wind, their standing shatters skies, and their waking heats or cools the land where they dwell. There are littler big ones that are as networks in the soil, fed by rot, full of life, growing fungi even in the cold. There are big ones who live as swarms, their wheels spread across 100,000 short lives. In the time of giants, the big ones did not rest. The climate was harsh, the world was cruel. We did not understand the will of every big one, but we felt their power bearing down on us. In the cold, in the darkness, in the shaking earth. We were pack, and we weathered it all together, until the big one of the north was restless, so the land remained cold. Its great freeze overtook us, and the prey was scarce. And back then, we dreamt of green, and warm blood and meat. The big one of the north, it frightened us, felt it watching. Sometimes the ground would open up in frightful pits, and it would devour even the greatest of great beasts, plunging them into its hungry fire. We knew how to live around the big ones, under their shadows. We knew to stay away from their mouths, the signs of its hunt. We lived as great beasts, knowing that there were always far greater and far more frightening creatures that we must be wary of. But one day, well, things changed in what felt like a blink. I cannot tell you how it started, only how it ended. Two big ones, perhaps more. I cannot say if they were enraged because I do not know how they feel or think. I only know what I know. A big one of wintry freeze, and a big one of stone and fire. So violently did they clash, that the land cracked and shook, and from the sky rained fire. We ran, but in the chaos, we were separated. Cliff sides crumbled, and there was fire below as above. I ran, and I did not stop. I knew I could not outrun death in the end, but I could outmaneuver it for a while. I found a crack that only one of my size could crawl through. I came out the other side before it all came down behind me. I hid in a cave by the water that did not shake, and I stayed there for many nights, until all was still. I dragged bodies out of the water to eat, or pieces of creatures much bigger than I, ripped apart or burned. When all was still, I saw my first morning, and I traveled back to my home. I did not find my pack in the end. Perhaps they escaped to another place, or perhaps they all found their death. I searched for them, further north than here, and found cold lands, familiar to me. In time, I saw another great beast circling a pit, luring prey into the sleeping big one's maw. The elk was like me, small for its kind, but towering over all else, and it hid itself in the trees. We spoke in our way, and he spoke to me of what he discovered, living so close to a big one's mouth, in a way I never would have dared. He spoke of death and the big ones, how death was like its food, just as fresh meat was ours, how he believed they lay broken, but could not die, for the world was not yet dead. He lived in harmony with the big one of the north, hunting those that came near, so that he could feast on their flesh, while it feasted on their death. Yet, in times of hunger, still it wakes, and more die, each year, in its winter. Still, it was not like before. It was was no longer a time of giants, though they had lived. They slept now, lying across the earth. Only rarely do they wake, and perhaps it was a big one that kept the sky dark, for since then, the days and years grew brighter. I returned to my home and found creatures like me, but smaller than I. It was a strange feeling now, to be as my mother was, tucking these little ones under me to warm them in the winter. I had mates, and I had children. I had pack, and I watched over them all, in this new world that I survived to see. The world has changed since the time of giants, but still there live those who feed off death, a dangerous thing for we who live. And the big one in the north, it sleeps long. When it stirs, comes winter, and when it sleeps once more, comes warmth. The rotting, unnatural magic of all these creatures perhaps steers it to a longer waking. And while I know I cannot outrun death forever, I do not wish to return to a time of big ones, and the prosperous death that fed them. I hope, little big one, you have an end to them and their contamination.
I've been trying to figure that one out, but... Can I ask? Why do you call me that?
Little big one. You're small, but full to bursting. You smell of the touch of big ones, but within you, such that the scent of rot cannot mask it. But there is something else in your scent that I do not understand. In amongst the scent of magic, raw and gold, there is a sickly sweetness. You smell of big ones, but you are not like them.
Is that why you trust me? When I don't even know if I can do anything to stop what was started a century before me?
I have lived many lifetimes of my kin. My children live and die in many generations. I have remained unchanged for much of that time, and yet I know that change can come in a mere blink. You are new to me. You are change. But regardless of whether you succeed or fail, I will be here to bite off the heads of those that disturb the big one, whose shadow I live under, whose waking is made long by their rotten magic. Heads or hands? Does your companion wish his rotten hand taken before the rot spreads?
No, thank you, ma'am.
Come to me again, should you need my aid. Call for the Waheela, and make your case. But do not abuse my kindness. There will be nothing for you after that.
So, the thing the old man called the long winter?
It's a big one. Or I guess what it does to affect the seasons. But it's far from the only one in this world. I think where I come from, we call them Anito, ancestor spirits, or gods.
Another thing we need to worry about.
No, well, I mean, there's no point in worrying about something you can't change. And what could a human possibly do to change the mind of a god, you know?
The elders said the long winter interferes with their power, one way or another. Maybe that's something we can work with?
Maybe. There's also the good foci. I know Laura said she wanted to talk about them when we get back. I think she's been doing a bit of antiquing.
Are you okay?
Yeah. Why?
You seemed really disturbed by what the Waheela called you.
Not disturbed, just... I've always known I had a little more power than was normal. It's why my nana kept telling me to be careful. And she was right. When I wasn't careful, I destroyed my entire life. I ruined everything. But no matter how much power I have, I can't be that. A big one, a god, not even a little one, because if I was, I could have just fixed everything. My nana would be better, my home wouldn't be poor, my country, and here, the elders wouldn't even be a problem anymore. If I was as powerful as a thing that scared Sauvard, I just stop them. End the suffering. Stop everything bad from happening ever again. But I don't have that power. And if I did, if I always did, and I didn't know how to use it, that means I just let it happen. That means I let everything bad happen. I let them die. I let them all die. I let Abe die.
Hey. Just breathe. Can you tell me what you can see?
I'm okay.
Then tell me what you can see.
The road, the trees, that really stupid flapper dancer you've got on your dashboard.
Okay. What can you hear?
You, the car, me, I guess.
What can you feel?
Your hand squeezing mine, the wind from the cracked window, the seats.
We only know what we know now. And we can't go back. But this isn't so bad, is it?
Being on a mission to stop an elder war and trying to figure out a way to depower them in the process, that...
Being together, not being helpless, being alive, getting to say, I love you.
I love you too. Thank you.
You're listening to Hainai by Motzie Dapul.
Hey everyone, this is Motzie, creator of the Hainai podcast. Hainai is a podcast produced by myself, Yoi Halago, and Alyssa Jimenez, and co-created by Reg Helly, and licensed under Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 4.0 International License. This episode was co-produced by Jesse Goodsell, and written and directed by myself, and I also play the role of Mary Datuin, as well as the Waheela. The role of Donner was played by Leon Johnson. If you'd like to chat with other listeners when episodes go live, we do a live premiere 3 times a month on Sundays at 9 p.m. EST or Toronto time on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/HainaiPod. To help support the production of Hainai, you can subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/HainaiPod. You'll get to listen to episodes ad-free and get to be part of our early access program, where episodes are released 3 days early on Thursday at 9 p.m. EST or Toronto time. You can also get bonus audio, art, video, and much more. Speaking of Patreon, we'd love to give a shout out to the following patrons for all their amazing support: Pollo, Nat Dwight, Phoenix Luna, Kate Jordan, Tiana Harvey, Dracucard, Sabine, Sean, Josh the Alchemist, Jess Snow, Maddie Remigio, Talon, Alan Weberman, Nanette Dapul, Mika, Matthew Upton, Anna, Sooks, Becca Terrier, Amelia Brownstein, Diana Cause, Melissa, Emma Heilig, Faye Fungi, Pablo Neurotic, Oscar Kim, Evie Smith, Megan, Jesse Goodsell, Malaya Light, and Victoria Goodwin. If you can't subscribe monthly, you also have the option to buy us a milk tea on Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/HainaiPod, HINAYPOD. You can even buy ad-free episodes over there if you purchase our Hainai album, which has the ad-free, credits-free version of our episodes from Act 1 and 2. You also get this album for free as a patron. Check out our website, HainaiPod.com, for more news and updates. And don't forget to follow us on all socials, on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Facebook, and now Blue Sky. Hainai is available on Acast and wherever you listen to podcasts. We hope you enjoy our Act 3 episodes. And as always, thank you, we love you, and hanggang sa muli.